Good morning, folks. I'm Dave, and this is Alaskan Homesteading. I am back with a quick update on the ATV and the shifting problem that we had when we were out scouting for moose. If anybody didn't watch that video, I'll link to it somewhere. But the basic problem is that while we were out driving around, the machine made some like clattering, rattling noises and stopped moving. And what I came to believe is that the transmission was popping out of gear. And so, every time it happened 3 times while we were out scouting. Every time it happened, if I just jiggled the shift lever a bit, everything was fine again. And so I surmised that the linkage is off in some way. Well, I think that I have proven that, and I'll show you how. So this is the shift lever, and it has this little gated card that guides the stick and kind of aligns to the different shift positions. So forward all the way is reverse, one more back is neutral, another back is high, another back is low. And if I go from neutral into high, the first thing I notice about it, now that I'm really inspecting this, is that it feels a little soft. It doesn't like positively click. So if I bring the lever over and move it just a little bit further back, now that's actually high gear. And one more is low. So basically the problem is how this is aligned and with the length of the cable and how the ends of it are tightened. Going into high on the shifter here isn't truly all the way in high gear, and so that allows it to pop out. So I think I've confirmed my hypothesis, and now I just need to make some adjustments to that linkage. So I'll show you what I'm talking about with the linkage below. That's the linkage right here. Move this out of the way so you can see better. And so the cable that is actuated by that lever pulls on this lever here. And now, since I just pushed it into high up top there, if I pull down on this lever a little bit, you can see now it's actually all the way in high. So it had a pretty good amount of slop in that actuation. And I think I just need to adjust down here this nut to tighten it up. I think I mentioned before that I was able to get the entire service manual for this machine off of Country Cat. Their website is very helpful, and it has a whole procedure for checking the shift cable and adjusting the shift cable for this machine, the XTZ. And so I'm going to go through this procedure and make some adjustments. And really it's tightening and loosening these 2 nuts that hold the end of the cable. It says, install the E-clip, then tighten nuts A and B securely. Loosen nuts A and B. Adjust the cable housing to align the shift cable end to the shift arm stud. Adjust the cable housing. Right, the cable runs inside the cable housing to align the shift end to the shift arm stud. So I'm going to have to fiddle with this a little bit. Getting that E-clip off is going to be tricky. Those always like to go sproing and yeet off into the atmosphere. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and work on that a little bit. I do believe I've solved it. It's hard to show because of where the camera would have to be. It just doesn't fit where I need it to be to work on it. But as I mentioned, this lever, this is the actuator that actually moves the shift fork inside the transmission, and it is driven by this cable. And the procedure said to take this E-clip off, which actually turned out to be fine. I just pried it off with a little screwdriver and it came off without a problem. And then it said to adjust these 2 nuts down here, one on the left side of the bracket and one on the right side. And That's not possible. this this outer one here does not adjust, and I think it's possible that this shift cable was installed backwards, the wrong end on here, because on the other end, this nut is adjustable, and so is the one on the inside there. And so I just had to loosen this and in effect shorten the cable a little bit so that when the lever moves from neutral into high, it's actually fully engaging high inside the transmission. And so now if I go, reverse, neutral, high, it actually feels like it properly clicks in. And if I go back here to this lever and pull on it, it doesn't have any more travel in that direction into high gear. So I do believe that's the solution. I'm going to have to do a little test drive and make sure that it's properly shifting, into all gears, and drive it around a little bit. But I think I may have fixed it. It's a little adjustment, but really critical that it be correct. I do believe that I have this linkage adjusted the best I can adjust it. I think the fundamental problem is that there's just quite a bit of slop in that assembly, and it's gotten worn over time, and I think it's always going to be a little bit off. As I started to adjust essentially the length of that cable longer and shorter, I found that there wasn't really a great sweet spot. It would always be just a little too sloppy in one direction or the other, meaning okay, yeah, it would positively engage into high, but then when you go past that to try to go into low, it would be a little tricky getting it all the way into low. Or it wouldn't want to go into reverse because you're taking a lever and you're turning it. It travels through about 90 to 100 degrees on the side of that transmission, and either you're gonna move it further one way and not as far the other, or further this way and not as far that way, and it's just I can't quite get anything that seems perfect. Again, there's just a lot of slop in that whole mechanism, and maybe the cable is stretched out, and bushings are worn, and all this other kind of stuff. So I think I at least understand the problem at this point and know what to do on the trail, which is just be certain that it's positively engaged in the gear that you're trying to use. That seems to maybe be the answer here. At any rate, thanks for watching. Hopefully, if you've got an Arctic Cat and you are running into this kind of problem, you've found this video and seen my solution or non-solution, as the case may be. I'm not really too sure. But yeah, I'll add this to my Fixin' Stuff playlist, and if you want to see more of that kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button to let me know that you found it useful, and we'll see you next time.